So we have Peter Wong, who's going to tell us about edible barcodes.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. Peter Wong. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Trutag Technologies. And we're addressing a huge problem. It's a very acute problem, and it's a drug problem.
I have a drug problem. 10% of the world's medicine is counterfeit.
Affecting over 1 billion people a year. On a smarter planet, we're building intelligence into things.
So we can follow this medicine from the factory to the distribution center.
To the pharmacy.
And know it's the real thing.
Keeping counterfeits off the shelves.
In places like the U.S.,
Tanzania, and India.
smarter medicine is safer medicine.
So 10% of the world's $800 billion drug market is a huge problem. Drug manufacturers are losing money hand over fist every day, and more importantly, people's lives are at risk. So that's why companies like IBM are directing their considerable resources towards this problem. Their focus, as you can tell, on packaging security, which in and of itself is a huge industry, over $55 billion for food and pharmaceutical packaging security. But there's one flaw in this slick commercial. While they can track that fancy bottle from factory to pharmacy, what they can't tell you is whether what's inside is real. Because authentic packaging does not ensure authentic medicine. So what do we do about this hole in the defenses? Well, at Trutag, we're part of a new market called on-dose authentication. On-dose authentication takes the security measures that you see at the packaging level and brings them down to the dosage or pill level. So at Trutag, we've developed what we call a high-security covert edible barcode. It's a microtag made out of pure, inert, nanoporous silica, which is edible. It's easily applied to the coating of tablets. And our technology team can create up to 1 trillion unique spectral codes, so unique identification labels. I have a vial up here of 1 gram of Trutags, about 12 million particles, all coated with the same code. And so we start with silicon wafers that you'd find here in the valley and convert them through our proprietary process into edible silica. Silica has been a food and drug ingredient for decades. It's in Advil pharmaceuticals. It's even used in Taco Bell meat. So maybe not fully digestible, but it is edible. And it's considered generally recognized as safe. It's categorized as generally recognized as safe by the FDA or a GRAS material. So what we do is we coat a drug, a pill, kind of like a sugar donut, read it with our proprietary reader, capture the unique spectral pattern, and then we can associate it like an ID label to whatever a pharmaceutical manufacturer would like to associate it with in their IT system. Drug strength, lot number, expiration date, authorized customer, shipping data, authorized country of sale. Now, as we look at the competitive landscape in terms of on-dose authentication technologies, there's really 3 categories. 2 traditional methods. You could print or emboss on the pill. You could do chemical analysis and boil it down and compare it to the formulation recipe. And then there's taggants, which are the most sophisticated. These are easy to fake. You can't differentiate between batches, and it's not a rich data tool. Trutags were not destructive to the pill. For our customers, we can provide many layers of benefits, whether they buy it for anti-counterfeiting or quality control or regulatory compliance. We can provide a very compelling return on investment, and when you talk about pills that sell for $5, $10, $15, $30 per pill, we can charge fully the equivalent of a system, about a penny per pill, which can scale our business over time to a $100 million plus business. And just putting that in perspective, as we go to market, that's about 15 blockbuster products. So if Pfizer were to apply it to these 4 products, that's about 25% of our way towards our goal. And so we're going to be focusing on the top 50 pharmaceutical manufacturers. So pharma itself is a very lucrative market for us. Beyond that, because silica is very heat resistant, it's got a melting point of about 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit. It can be applied to high heat environments like, say, electronics or aircraft parts, areas where you have high volume, high value items that are important to verify and authenticate. They can be applied to luxury goods. We've been approached by art collections to tag artifacts like coins and bowls and things like that, valuable documents, and of course, food items. So in summary, our Trutag edible barcodes are a critical security and information solution. We're initially addressing a very large and lucrative market in the solid oral dose pharmaceutical market, but there's a wide variety of market verticals that are available and for the technology platform beyond pharmaceuticals. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your interest.
You are relying, of course, that the manufacturer has properly manufactured the drug before it's being coated with your tagant. So there is still an assumption there that the manufacturer has done his job correctly and hasn't screwed up something in his process.
Well, that's correct. It's really a tool for them to track their product. So if they've had a problem,
they'll know which one it is.
They'll know which one it is. For example, recently GSK had a quality control problem. Mm-hmm. In fact, they settled this with the Department of Justice in October. Mm-hmm. They pled guilty to felony adulteration, paid a huge fine. They were mixing up 2 different drugs in the same bottle or mixing 2 strengths of the same drug in the same bottle. Authentic package, if they had Trutags, they could have pulled the offending pill. It's the wrong drug, to your question, right. Ted, and say, where'd this come from? I see it was made in the same place as the correct pill. Now we know where my problem is. So it can be used for internal controls as well.
Let me ask a similar question. Do we know at what stage of drug manufacturing process counterfeit drugs get into the system? Is it on the level of API, on the level of formulation, on the level of packaging? When does it happen? Usually?
So as we understand it, the answer is yes to all. So
all 3 of them?
Yes. We're focused initially at the finished good level, but as we talk to pharma manufacturers, they all ask, can you mix this into the raw API in barrels?
Yes, was my second question. Can you mix it into the API?
You know, we've done really preliminary tests.
But please answer the first question first.
So because most API is manufactured in China and India, they're very concerned about that step in the supply chain. And so they want us to mix it in, sprinkle it into these big barrels of powder to be able to scan it. And so we've done really preliminary tests on that. We're really focused on the coating. But that is an area where adulteration can come into the system. It can come in at the distribution chain. They can insert it into authentic packaging if you have a third shift in China. So it's really there's been examples of counterfeiting at every stage of the value chain. Really.
It's very interesting. It's a question of how the big pharma guys are going to buy, what they're going to buy. There are other tagant products that are apparently different in technology?
There are some other tagant products. Many of them are forensic. So, it's kind of baked into the pill itself, and you have to destroy the pill to find the tagant. You can certainly use ours that way, but ours would be on the coating or surface of the pill so that you can read it through a blister pack or through some clear glass. You don't have to destroy the pill.
How much does the reader cost?
Basically our reader it's our proprietary reader, but it's made out of off-the-shelf components. It's just a white light and a spectrometer. Right now, as we're making our first prototypes of what I like to call a coffee maker size tabletop, benchtop reader, it's in the very low thousands, but as we scale, we think we can get it much lower than that. And for us, that's really the razor. We'd sell it as low as possible to get it in the hands of our customers.
So, and your IP is around the detection?
It's really around the tags themselves, how you make it, how you take nanoporous silica and be able to manipulate the spectral pattern and use it as an authentication.
Yeah, the spectral patterns can be manipulated using other techniques. So, how do you protect yourself from similar?
We'll finish up on that one. Yeah.
Well, our IP is around using it as an authentication device, and in particular in nanoporous silica, the pores in the silica itself.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Peter. So as a reminder, there's going to be a networking session, I think, in the Galileo lobby room.